Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and NB pals. Welcome back to Fallapalooza 3. We're into day 2 now. This is a $2,000 Fall Guys tournament for squads. A lot on the line here. The top 8 teams have moved on to Sunday, and joining me in the commentary booth today, we've got Neon Caster. Neon Caster, what's going on, my dude?
Not much, my dude. I'm just sitting here chilling out, waiting for some great games today. I'm excited to see a lot of these games, especially after watching through day 1. What's going on with you?
Oh, got my coffee in hand, trying to wake up early. We were just talking about how I live the D-Gen lifestyle, so getting up this early for Fall Guys, while it's not my usual, it's absolutely worth it. And I mean, when you see the teams that we've got ahead of ourselves, I think we were talking about it with the casters yesterday. The Fall Guys content in this Fallapalooza has been above and beyond what even the first 2 Fallapaloozas were able to provide, and it's only going to get even more intense from here on out.
No, I completely agree that, like I said, there's a lot of competitors here, and as we've seen, round 1 matchups are even crazy. Round 2 matchups, we've had so many what could be considered by seeding upsets, but upsets don't matter. It's anyone can take a game. Every single one of these players have established themselves enough that they are willing to compete against some of the best players in Fall Guys, and they don't care because they know they can take wins just as well.
Exactly. I feel like I always say it, Fall Guys is a game of reactions. It's not about execution. Like, even though you look at it like a platforming game, it's not really about memorizing execution. This is a game more about reactions and figuring out how to react to the situation best. And we saw so many good examples of that yesterday. Fant in the 1v2 against Zgas, eliminating them from the tournament, no less. And the one-on-one situation you had with Essence and Ryan Bushman in that tiptoe, like, there were so many incredibly just smart plays that get these players to where they are today. And you only get that in these head-to-head competitions.
Oh yeah, some would also call those 5 brain as well. High IQ. There's so many words to define the craziness of the games we had seen yesterday. And all we can expect today is them just to go up, tune it up to 11, get to that next level, and see something even crazier. I expect some crazy plays across the board, especially when you saw what you need to do to beat Fur and Fant, to beat Bear Torvid Essence. They're making these plays. What are you going to do to beat those kinds of plays?
That's right. And it all comes down to the kudos at the end of the day. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at the rules.
Alrighty, so I'll start off. So it's going to be obviously single bracket elimination now today. So we went through our single bracket of our little quarterly brackets. Now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. That means we're going to be doing a round of 2 people versus 2 people in a set of 3, I believe it is, for this round. And whoever wins will be going on to the next round.
That's right. Kudos-based scoring means that all of the medals in all of the games matter. You want to get first in those races. You want to hold on to those tails longer in the tail tags. The kudos matter. They add up. You obviously want those crowns. But if you can get an advantage in those games, it's going to mean the difference sometimes.
Now, obviously, no one here likes it when you get a disconnect. You don't like it when you see a hacker. It's just going to ruin the game, make that round not really that fun. So we are allowing hacker and disconnects results in an episode reset. You should only get 1 on those disconnects. We can't be sitting here all day waiting, but we do allow 1 because no one wants to win that way.
That's right. Now, a couple of quality of life improvements for the tournament to make things a little bit more interesting. Multi-crowns will be honored with full kudos. We've seen it a couple times in this Fallapalooza already, folks. The double crown can make a comeback, or it can put you ahead early on in the matchup, so we gotta allow those. Another thing to kind of spice it up, no griefing in team games are allowed. This includes going AFK. This is just so that we get to those finals, we see those hype moments. We're doing it in the spirit of the competition. If you have 2 people kind of throwing a team game, obviously can make it really easy for your team to win. So we want to eliminate that. That's, not fair play, in my opinion.
Completely agree. And all matches today, another completely fair option, are on main show. I know hard mode's out there. I'm sorry for all you hard mode fans, but main show is the way we're going to go. It's just the most fair way, and it makes all tournaments across the board consistent because main show's always going to exist. And on top of that, ties are going to be broken with an extra episode. So if we end up getting a tie, we'll see one more paired up match between the 2v2 matchup.
That's right. We haven't seen it yet. It's very hard to tie on the kudos in 3 games, but nothing is impossible, right? And as far as episodes are concerned, we're going to be seeing quarterfinals, semifinals, third place, and finals matches today, folks. Quarterfinals and semifinals are going to be 3 episodes per match. Once we get down to the final matches of the day, we're going to be switching over to 5 episodes per match. Give the opponent, or give our competitors, a little bit of extra time to get those kudos and edge out their opponents.
Yeah, not only that, giving you guys some extra time to enjoy these matchups as well.
Absolutely. Let's take a peek over to our bracket for the day. Let's introduce our top 8 teams.
All right, so in our top game, we do have Wolfgang versus Bulbous Boys. This is going to be Paleo and Stratosphere taking on Drew Crew and Lustrous, I believe.
That's right. This is Wolfgang's second appearance in a Fallapalooza quarterfinal. They got knocked out of the quarterfinals last time here. If you actually look at all of these teams, the only teams that have made it past the quarterfinals is 2P is a pod. That's the only team that has made it as far as the semifinals. Actually, no, that's not true. Positive Vibes as well. The Has-Beens has Puffly Jig on their team, so also a player that has made it to the semifinals, but only half of that team has made it on. So there's a lot of teams in here that need to prove themselves here. A couple of quarterfinals first timers as well, the Bulbous Boys being one of them. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Drew Crew and Lustrous, we were talking yesterday how they've been in a lot of Fall Guys competitions, but they have always kind of fallen short of that first place prize. So they're going to be hungry for it today.
Oh, for sure. I'm very excited for this top portion of the quarterfinals, especially considering all 4 of those teams actually got there through a considered upset win across the board.
Yep. We love Fall Guys because, again, anything can happen. If you react to a situation perfectly, you can catch your opponents off guard, and the number of crowns at the end of the day can't save you from just a really strong play from your opponents. So we're definitely seeing that on the top half of the bracket here. Team __ versus Team Slime Survivors now. Team Slime Survivors, man, that first match that they played, dropping that first episode with one player missing all the way through the episode, but the other player able to clutch out the crown, and now they're here in the quarterfinals. They have a lot to prove, but they've already shown that they can clutch it out versus seasoned veterans, Team __ These guys are off of a second place Bean Brawl last weekend, several Bean or Chase for the Crown victories. Fant is a Fall Maniac a champion himself. These guys are seasoned Fall Guys competitors. That'll be a matchup to watch too.
Yes, and we do have down in the next matchup, we do have 2Ps in a pod versus the Has-Been. You saw 2Ps in a pod as we were talking earlier with their insane matchup with Bear Torv and Essence going up against the Has-Beens. I don't know much about this team, actually. I haven't seen them much. I haven't got a chance to get around as much as I would like in the Fall Guy community lately. But can you give me a little bit of an update on them?
For sure. The Has-Beens are Trip Hop and Puffly Jig. Now, Puffly Jig is no stranger to 2Ps in a pod. Puffly Jig lost the third place matchup in the last Fallapalooza to 2Ps in a pod. So Puffly Jig now teaming up with Trip Hop, who himself has over 2,700 crowns. The Has-Beens are going to have something to prove to try and beat 2Ps in a pod and make it to the semifinals today. That'll be also, I keep saying it like a broken record, a matchup to watch today.
Oh, and if you want to add a little bit more spice to that match, Puffly Jig, the partner of Wraith Scuff, 2Ps in a pod, just beat Wraith. So this is also avenging his ex-partner right there as well on top of all this.
Exactly. Last matchup of the day, Positive Vibes versus Eminem. Both of these teams have made it to the quarterfinals in Fallapalooza before. Only one of them can move on to the semifinals. Eminem is the only team on our bracket that has made it to the quarterfinals in all 3 of our events, but never made it to the semifinals. Can they do it today?
Alrighty, I really hope that they can. I'm also hoping that the other team, Positive Vibes, can as well. We are definitely seeing a team that has taken 2 of their players that have just come out of the Bean Brawl victory, and we're going to see that leader of Nightwalker bringing on Freshie instead of Indo this time.
That's right. A strategical change, maybe just because Indo wasn't able to participate in this event, but positive vibes making it to the quarterfinals with both of those pairings. So, it obviously is working out for them. And look at this. We are right into the action now, folks. Team underscore underscore versus Team
That
Slime
should be
Survivors
probably
in a
probably
team
on the
tail tag.
on our teammate lose all the tail.
And it looks like we
one
already
second
missing
on
2
the
players.
event.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm wondering
Yeah,
if
you
there
have
is
to.
just an error or if this is just straight up they lost out in round
Let's check
one.
out DC push so hard
I
into the
think
left
that
side.
is
Oh,
possible. Yeah, I'm
but
getting
no,
confirmation from
not the
production that
doors,
the first episode was a DoorDash. Fant and Shud both go down in the
At least
DoorDash,
we
so we're in a
are not
1v1
kudos
situation here,
if he
folks.
didn't we now if he
Yeah,
didn't
this is
won.
definitely going to spice things up. Now
But
you get
like,
to see this solo
but
1v1 action, which is going to take a whole different turn on how they're going to play every game from here on out.
Oh, Santa,
Oh, we got an overtime situation in the team tail tag. Now, with team tail tag, you got 4 teams. It's the only game in Fall Guys that has 4 teams, so it's usually pretty safe. 75% odds that you're going to be moving on to the next round, but these tiebreaker situations, these overtimes are very common as a result as well. These teams are moving on handily. No problems here.
Alrighty, and it does look like they make it on, no problem, like we said. So Rapid Winning Roof versing for 1v1, and with 27 left and not a potential and no way to be a team game, we might see something like a ski fall coming in here pretty quick.
You might be right. Let's see.
You can definitely hear them talking back and forth, trying to figure out what they want to do. This 1v1 can definitely change the weight of this game, but it does come down to at least it's not a 2v1. But we are getting the new Snowball Survival.
Yes, I love this mini game. This is a relatively new game in Fall Guys, released in Season 3.5. The goal of this one is it's kind of like a Thin Ice with some permanent platforms in here. Snowball's rolling around with like brute force. The idea is that you don't fall in the holes, you don't get knocked out of the bowl. I've seen some chaotic strategies being employed here already. I think it was who was it? Goodness, I think it was Wolfgang's team. Actually, they were opening up the exterior of the bowl. They were cracking all the ice on the outside so that people had holes to specifically fall into, and it actually worked to their benefit yesterday.
Yeah, I believe they were doing that. And then also the game between Beartorb Essence and the Bushmen also was doing just that when they ended up going into 8 people surviving to that fall ball. I'm
Goodness.
actually a big fan of the idea of breaking it though, because if you're confident you can survive, actually making it so your opponents are gonna have to not get hit by those snowballs. Because if you're confident, your opponent needs to figure out if they can be confident.
Exactly. Exactly. It's kind of like the strategy that I employ on Thin Ice. If you open up the spaces in Thin Ice, then it. Oh no! Oh my goodness! Fur underscore. Sorry, I had to cut myself off there for a second. Fur flies out of the bowl with just a second left, and he still qualifies. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's always a big sigh of relief, but everyone knows it was expected. He knew he was fine. That was all calculated. But we do get to get ourselves going back to Wolfgang versus Bulbous Boys, and it looks like they just finished up a freezy peak right there.
Looking pretty safe right now. It looks like all 4 of our players are still in.
They're pressuring our game. You got our game. Let's go.
Now we'll get to see what we're going down with 19 left. Do we get a big final, or do we just see another round?
19, so no team game here?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yep, no team game, they said, because there's 19 people, so a Hoopsy Legends coming up next.
This is a 10 or 11 qual. I think it's 11 here, which is still it's a little big. They should be fine. It's no 6 qual Hoopsy heroes here.
All right,
We are
what's
getting
the play?
We see him going for there quick, but we do see out of everyone, Palio going for the first gold attempt, getting grabbed by that Cuphead or Mugman. I do not know which is which.
Oh, and somebody jumped out of the sky to steal the golden ring from everybody there. And so now, Palio's in a position where he's got no points. The other players are kind of running around getting the white rings. it's up to Palio to kind of regain that. But my strategy for this game, I'm not sure if you agree. I always try and find the one closest white ring and then just go for the gold as long as the gold isn't too preoccupied. As long as there's not too many people around, usually that's the fastest and easiest way to qual. But all right, there we go. Palio's on the board now with the 1 point. Looking across the board, everybody's kind of just gathering white rings. Nobody's really going for that gold ring strategy. It's just going to be Palio left behind, I think, at this rate. Lustrous is already in.
Yeah, that's really big, and I do agree with you in your strategy section. I do go for the single white, and then I will look for a gold if it becomes available, but white is the way to go unless there is a gold that is just happily available.
That was a bad gamer jump attempt for me. It's all good though.
There we go. Both of the Bulbous boys are in. It's up to the Wolfgang to kind of catch up on their heels. Big on the kudos for Drew and Lustrous, though. So we can assume that they probably are going to be qualifying there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our very first final of the day, folks. We've got a Fall Mountain 1v1. Let's do this.
Yeah, and Rapid Winning Wolf, my bad, is getting such a really strong position, getting the RNG top spot and being able to get that little wobble run to take that lead. We'll see if this turns into an easy victory, which it is looking really good on his screen, but on Furs, it's looking a little desync-ish over there.
Yep, he's taking the left side. The left side is pretty rough sometimes. Oh, it's going to be close. 1-on-1. Who's going to jump at the crown first? Oh, Fur catches it with his fingertips as it's on the way up. You can see that Rapid Winning Wolf didn't have the confidence to pull it off, but Fur grabs the crown. Fur's going to be bringing home the big kudos for his team in this first episode, folks.
That is crazy. I don't know if it was a comms decision or what, but I feel like that should have at least, if you see Fur on the other side right there, you need to at least go for it. There's no choice to at least go for it. And if you can at least get the quick recover onto the jump and grab your way back up, you still are good. Also, you're on the left side. You have that little extra close distance because the crown is closer to the left side than it is to the right side.
Yeah, must have just been scared not to go for it, and that gives up the crown. But team __, we're talking about these guys. These are seasoned Fall Guys veterans. Fant didn't even put that Fall Mania championship was one of his gaming accomplishments, but that just goes to show how big of gamers these guys are here.
Oh, for sure. But let's not discount the other team of Wolfgang, or not Wolfgang. This, I'm getting people mixed up already. It's been a long day on my side already. Been up for way too long. But we got
Team
the
Slime
other
Survivors.
Slime Survivals, yes, is the name I was attempting to come up with. Team Slime Survivors, we can't count them out. They are still in this. That was only game one. They can still take that crown game two and still make a comeback.
Absolutely. One episode is not a death sentence. You know, Team Slime Survivors comes back, gets one crown, and they're right back in it, folks. So, stay tuned for the next couple episodes here. But yeah, Shud and Rapid Winning Wolf, speedrunners in their own right, just in a different sense. We got Tomb Raider speedrun under their belt here. Let's get back to the action. We've got ourselves a final, and we come back to see that just Drew Crew and Lustrous are on this jump showdown.
Yeah, was this an issue to do with not qualifying in the Hoopsie Heroes, or is this which I assume not, or was this just a good kill off in the jump showdown?
You know, it probably could have been some grief strategies on the jump showdown. But here we are. Here we are in a situation where it's now just 2v1 against an NPC. Lustrous makes the grab that he needs to, and now both of these guys are remaining on a jump showdown. Can they time it out for our first time out of the day, folks?
First time out of the day, first game. I'm sure that they would love that. And with that, that could be an easy run to getting that new high score, not wanting to be shown up by anyone else. 6,000 points, that's going to be easy to break if you're just going to start double crowning everything.
Absolutely. Can you imagine a world where 6,000 kudos is no longer the top amount in a 3-round match? That would be insane. These guys are already poised to make it happen. Getting the good luck with the jump showdown. Now all they got to do is survive the 3 minutes. While we're waiting for them to jump out, let's take a little peek at their player profiles as well. Let's take a look at these Bulbous boys. See where they come from.
Well, it looks like Drew Crew, obviously, as you've heard before, but I'll repeat again for new people who've just shown up today. He's saying he's won the first game of a Fall Guys beta right as it was released. So he's questioning if he is the first ever to win a crown in Fall Guys history.
We can call that a gaming accomplishment for sure. That is, he was winning before anybody else was.
Definitely before I ever had a chance. And then we also do have Lustrous down here, a top 100 legend in Hearthstone. I know I've had some Hearthstone experience, and I have trouble even getting to rank 5. So
Yep, those games they confuse the heck out of me. I'll tell you what. But I think that when we look at these gaming accomplishments, it really speaks to the diversity of Fall Guys competitive players. You kind of expect them all to come from like like a competitive gaming background of some kind, but you see such a diversity. You see speedrunners that are really catching on to this game because it appeals to what they like in a game. You're seeing people coming from, Hearthstone and kind of like these active action games like this, active card games like this. You see people coming from Rocket League, which kind of makes sense, when you think about it. It's just this perfect little melting pot of the most wholesome members of every community coming together to play this bean game.
oh yeah, there's just like you said, so many different communities here. I know I'm from the League of Legends community, originally coming here, playing this game, loving this game, and also I play chess and sports, but I've seen a lot of people who just do team stuff in their spare time for sports, and they love these kinds of games just because of the team aspect of it.
Now, these guys are still just jumping away. They probably only got about 30 seconds left. What goes through your mind in these jump showdowns, Neon? Have you timed out a jump showdown before?
I have, and it's always the same. Don't mess up 3 minutes to 4 minutes.
Yes, true. I feel like 420 is kind of the magic number. I feel like 420 is kind of when your nerves can kind of get a little bit shot and you can make those mistakes. But these guys are not making any mistakes. First episode of the day, ladies and gentlemen. They get a double crown. This is a commanding lead going into this quarterfinal matchup, folks.
You need to be careful over there, my dude. You're gonna make me laugh too hard with 420 being the magic number, my dude.
I mean, it's magic for several different reasons, isn't it?
It's got its own reasons over here. But with that, like you said, that's a double crown. That's gonna be a big old 1470 kudos just from those double crowns to put a big lead and a big damper on Wolfgang.
Absolutely. Yep. Wolfgang, they have a lot of ground to cover now coming out of that first episode. Now, it's still not over. This is why we have 3 episodes, right? We don't have 2 episodes, we have 3. Even the double crown doesn't necessarily solidify anything. Wolfgang can strike back, get 2 more crowns in the next couple episodes, and be right back in this, folks. Nothing is done until it's done. I would be curious to see, though, in the kudos counts, whether Wolfgang got eliminated in that Hoopsie Heroes or not.
Yeah, if they did not make it past that Hoopsie Heroes, that's actually going to really hurt the kudos and going to make them really have to make some plays coming up to this next 2 games here. Um, Definitely, that'd be about I believe that'd be 70 kudos per if they didn't make it, just to make it to that final round.
You add on top of that the fact that both of the players got crowns in that first episode, that's going to add up. That's going to add up quite a bit. They're going to have to
Yeah.
climb a mountain to get back into this one.
Yeah, well, the good part about this is means we're gonna be seeing some handsy plays these next 2 games.
I feel like the teams don't have a choice at this point, when you're down like that, when you're in a situation where, you're 2 crowns down just 1 episode in, you have to. You got to make those plays.
I'm getting an update. Got an update that apparently Cuphead is red and Mugman is blue. I'm gonna keep that in mind so I can call out these players because I know we have a team out there doing the Cuphead Mugman. I'm unsure if they are still around, but I saw it yesterday.
And we are going to see Cuphead and Mugman all over the field in Fall Guys today as a result of the costumes being brand new and shiny. So now that our scores are all in, though, let's take a peek. Let's have a look over here. What are we dealing with here, Neon?
Well, currently looking at this first game, we are getting able to confirm it. Looks like Paleo did not make it out of the Hoopsy Heroes, but Stratosphere did. So we're seeing a total of 845 on their part to a big whopping round one, 24-20, with Drew Crew and Lustrous just trying to outdo each other, but unable to do so.
Yep, exact tie on the Bulbous Boys side, 24-20. There's that magic number showing up right there again, folks. And yeah, the difference here is 1,600 kudos. That's 2 crowns.
That means unless
2
an
crowns
NPC
difference.
screws it up, an NPC should.
And it looks like we're going to be going into a nice seesaw
well, I got
event
ragdolled
here.
on the
Everyone
second
loves
jump,
it.
so
Just
why
make
not
sure you
use
don't
first?
fall too far behind. Otherwise, those NPCs could become a little annoying.
I can't do any warps either.
Absolutely. That's kind of how Seesaw goes. You know, if you get the front spot,
fine.
you can
You're,
kind of just
currently
run,
ahead of
cruise your
everyone
way
in
to
our
victory.
queue, so-
But in any other situation, yeah, you kind of just get stuck in the pack, and that's going to
Me and the
be
wolf
kind
are
of,
about
you know,
in the
your
same
detriment.
spot.
You can kind of get battered around by the other beans and get caught in the pack, and then you just kind of have to hope that everybody learns their physics homework so that you can make it to the end.
Yeah, and you know that Shud and Rapid Winning Wolf are definitely have that thought of the
NPC is
last
gonna
game
get
in their mind.
gold.
So they're gonna see if they can make a better play,
I
get that
should
crown
have
this
silver.
round, make sure they
Alright,
turn
I'm trying to
around
make
what they
sure I
were
can
doing.
get up there
And it
still
does
get a
look like
silver.
they're all gonna
Oh, they missed.
maybe
Silver's
get an
about
easy
12, right?
silver at least with the duck
12
falling
plus
off right there. Not too fun.
I should
Yeah,
get
Shud taking a
I
little
got a
dip,
silver.
but that's okay. He's on the last checkpoint. Not very many beans ahead of him,
You
so he
got a
should be
silver.
able to manage the
like everyone
seesaws
silvers for
effectively
everybody.
here. Not
Yep.
going to be 12
I mean,
beans
that's
ahead of him, so yeah,
what
silver
you
medals
probably
across
just
the
wanna
board. It looked like an
expect here
NPC stole the
anyways.
gold this time.
It's seesaw.
That's going to be good across the board. So that's going to be a nice, easy tie right there for
The
this
score
round.
going in was
And if I wasn't
1275
mistaken,
to
there was a
5.
pineapple NPC just trying to get the game over quickly and helping everyone get up. That's the nicest NPC I have ever seen.
You know, sometimes they look out for you and they just want to see everybody succeed. You know, much better than the vertical seesaw variation we used to have, where everything was just sabotage. Only a handful of people were able to qualify. Everybody else got kind of screwed over. So there are some good NPC beans out there. Got to give our respects.
Yeah, but we do have ourselves a Tundra run, and it looks like Drew Crew doesn't care. He wants first. Getting close to that Bonkus, though.
Let's go, baby. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Whiskers, for gifting us up.
Very close to the Bonkus, but doesn't matter. He's coming in first place. Gold medal for the Bulbous Boys, extending their lead just a little bit more. You know, the Wolfgang, they're caught on their heels right now. They gotta not only pick up the pace, but they gotta win the crowns as well. You know, there's a lot of pressure put on them right now.
Yeah, I guarantee that they are focused on qualify and sabotage. That would be my coaching advice to Wolfgang right now. You got to just qualify your races. Don't try and worry too much about winning them. You'd rather make sure you make it to the next round than win it, and then go ahead and sabotage every chance you get to make sure one of you at least can get killed on the other team.
I couldn't agree more. Let's take a look at the Wolfgang here. You know, before we even get into their gaming accomplishments, we got to shout out their team coordination. These guys, every Fallapalooza they get in, they're taking their coordinated pictures together, putting them together for, you know, just a little bit of extra entertainment value. I love these guys' coordination, folks.
Yeah, that is really big. It shows that they're going to have a really strong chemistry in the game as well.
Absolutely.
All right, sweets.
So we have
Back to
ourselves
team underscore.
Team underscore versus the Slime Survivors. Again, we're getting
Grabbing
to
it,
enjoy
get you
ourselves a
more
nice
lead.
whirly gig.
All right,
Doesn't
I'll
look like
just try and
anyone
make
wants
sure I
to
don't mess
do
up the
our
little ending.
fancy methods right now.
Using the level creatively, I think, is what Oliver called it on Instagram and on Twitter. Yeah, no creative use of the levels. I feel like the whirly gig one is kind of a risky one. You know, it's one of the strategies that you're not really sure is going to be consistent, so you don't want to take that risk, especially in a second round whirly gig.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a
Got it.
lot more risky, especially like doing the DoorDash glitch. You don't want to creatively
so
use
it's
the
gold
levels
silver versus
and
silver
then
silver?
all of a sudden fall behind
So good for
because
us.
the creativeness is not that easy.
Actually, they may have been 7th place, which I don't think is a silver.
Maybe.
They're kind of calculating the medals in their head there, you can hear. Now, speaking of using the levels creatively, we've got a DoorDash here, folks. Is anybody going to go for the DoorDash glitch? It looks like everybody kind of just barreled through the possibility of doing that. There was no door piece available for them to make that happen. So everybody's going to be playing this level normal, but it is a second round, so only 30 spots to qualify. You can't get caught in the back of the pack here.
Oh, correct. And then also adding on the fact that that was a decent grab there by Palio, making sure at least Drew Crew would not get first, but attempting to steal it there.
It was a good attempt. Yeah, it was a good attempt. I think an NPC did come first, so no gold medals across the board. I see a silver, yeah, and Lustrous gets bronze, actually. So, you know, those kudos that we're talking about, it's not much, but it's something.
Yeah, and when you need to claw your way back into a game, 35 is better than 0.
Absolutely.
But we do have a fruit shoot back here at team __ and the slime survivors. I don't know. I mean, I always put my money on these maps on slime survivors. There's a reason that is their name.
I got a really good.
Oh, are you? All right, that's good.
Yep, we're hoping that the Yeet is able to launch them over these watermelons right now. Fant gets the first place. The team __ is on fire right now, Neon. They are just crushing the gold medals. Team __ Fur, he got kind of hecked by a watermelon at the beginning there, but he's going to be safe. He's going to be fine.
They're getting silver.
Yeah, and it does look like we're going to be qualifying. It's probably a pink there at the end. Maybe a potential bronze, last bronze, but I'm unsure there.
That was a really good.
Just creeping into the top 50% for a bronze medal there. We also have another fruit shoot going on the other side. Let's see.
Well, it looks like Drew Crew just wanted to meet one of those apples right away, meeting another one, but this time understanding what to do, getting the nice sheet. But with the 17 qual, these should be really easy. It does look like all of our people should be able to get it, but we're having some issues on Lustrous.
Yeah, Lustrous isn't getting the yeet that he's looking for. Now he finally gets a launch up the front, but how many beans are up there? You gotta, you know, when you're in this situation, you start counting. You start wondering, hey, am I still able to make this happen? You can see there's maybe like 5 beans ahead of him. All of them are going to start qualifying right away. And same situation, you know, like second to last qualifying spot. But he is going to get the bronze medal still.
Yeah, that was, again, really close. That was another one of those situations. And it looked over there. If you saw, Stratosphere got the gold on that. So that's going to be some kudo gains. They are clawing, like we said back. They need to get these rounds going. They're probably hoping for some kind of elimination round coming up soon.
Yeah, all races. And races, you know, you kind of have to let the level eliminate your opponents most of the time. So, again, here's the wall guys. Now, wall guys, I think, might be an exception to this rule. I think that there are certain situations in wall guys that you can coordinate with your teammate and try and eliminate your opponents in some creative ways. We've seen it before, folks, in Fallapalooza. If you can outpace your opponents in the speedrun portion and get to the end early, you can sometimes force an elimination. Let's see if we see that today, folks.
I agree. And then also, as we've seen before, I'm a big fan of the idea of a creative play that your opponent's not ready for is always going to get you a big advantage that no one could see coming.
Now, if we take a peek here, it does look like everybody's kind of on the same playing field here. Everybody's in the same part of the level. Lustrous is the one who's out in front, though, in the red portion. But as you can see, the RNG didn't swing their way this time. There are no blocks available right at the start to just jump across the level for an easy qualification. So you have to wait for the NPCs to push a little bit. Lustrous takes advantage, but misses his jump, I think, by the looks of it. And look at this. Immediately, Palio tries to turn around, grab Drew, isn't able to do it, so they're both just going to run in and qualify. Lustrous right behind them.
Yeah, definitely a good call. You needed, with I believe 17 people in this round they definitely needed to make sure they got top 3 for the silver. So I think what Pleo was trying to do there was trying to get Stratosphere and himself through to try and get the top 3, so they got extra medals on top of extra medals.
Right, and if they win the crown in this episode and the next one, even if it's not a double in either of them, that could be enough to bring them back in it, right? So as long as they've got both people in the final, they have a good chance at that crown. They could claw their way back.
Yeah, like I said, they are going to be having to fight tooth and nail all the way there.
10 people left. I think we might be looking at a final right after this, folks. But another final underway. We've got a roll-off On the other side, ladies and gentlemen, 2v2 action coming your way.
Yeah, this is by far one of my favorite finals. I love being handsy when I can, and this is one of the most handsy maps I can think of right now.
If we
So,
get a
besides
crown,
tail
it's
tag,
bonus
of course.
points, but we don't.
Mhm.
We don't need.
Oh yes, tail tag. Of course, well, you're just grabbing as a result of it being tail tag. You have to, but here we are.
All right.
Roll off
getting
time.
grabby.
What's your strategy when you go into a roll off against an opponent, Neon? What goes through your mind?
What is the best way I can murder them?
Yeah.
That is immediately where my mind panels to. I like to come up with creative ways to murder. I also do as some people like to do, they won't do it unless it's safe. They're nearby the edge. I will keep grabbing you even if there's no chance for a murder, just to keep you having to keep your eyes on me and not the map.
Yep, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, put some pressure on. You know, even if it isn't a position where you can necessarily do anything direct, it doesn't mean you can't harass them a little bit. It doesn't mean that you can't just prove that you're there, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
I got really
Forgot
decent.
desync popped off by a bean. I think it was just a pinch. I think one of the NPCs kind of just bounced backwards. And so now Fant is by themselves against both of the Team Slime survivors here. 2v1 situation, folks.
A lot of the
Yeah, and that's going to be really big because if you're looking at the score difference, that is literally just a crown difference right there. So getting the crown, if they evened out in the map.
I got
Oh,
one out.
and we
There
did
goes-
go for the suicide there.
Yeah, there goes Fant. Fant caught in a bad position there. Shud grabbed him, pushed him in, so Fant's only reaction was to turn around and grab back. So now it's Rapid winning Wolf all by themselves against some NPCs. All they got to do is survive and get the crown and bring their team back into this.
As I said it before, they are the slime survivors themselves, making sure that they showed it, proved it, took that crown right there, making sure the crowns are even up 1-1. So it is for sure a game 3. Whoever gets the crown is going to walk away the victor of this round itself.
Absolutely. Yep, that's what you like to see. Kudos are going to be super close when we go back into that matchup, folks. Let's take a look at the other matchup now. What do we got here for a final? Oh, is it over? I think we might be over already.
We are a good final.
We had a good final. We'll update you on the scores of the other matchup when we get the scores. But what a roll off! What a roll off! Bringing it back in.
Yeah. As I've always said, I enjoy competitive games. I enjoy when it is much closer and competition. It's just like I say every time I'm casting the finals of Bean Brawl. I want all 4 teams or all 4 players or every player involved to be within fighting distance of each other, so that way that's it. Like, everyone needs to be right there next to each other, so that way the game is much more entertaining for me, much more competitive for the players. I don't want a blowout victory of any kind.
Absolutely, right? It's no fun to watch that. It's no fun to watch that. Obviously, you know, if you are the blowout team, if you're the one who's just kind of cruising to a definitive victory, it's nice for you as a competitor because then you just kind of look forward to the next round. But we want to see some action, folks. We want to see it be real close. We want to see these scores nice and tight. And I think our scores are all in. So we're going to take a peek here, see what happened in the other episode, and see what our kudos are looking at right now.
Well, looking down at the game that we missed between Wolfgang and Bulbous Boys, it does look like Wolfgang was able to pull up that crown, putting them at 25-65 to 33-70, which is still outside of the crown distance, but definitely a double crown or maybe a good grief able to catch up. And over here, what do we got going on in the other game, Dangers?
Oh goodness, not even a 200 kudos difference, a 105 kudos difference between Team __ and Team Slime Survivors. Team __ holding on to a very narrow lead right now, but it's basically anybody's game, folks, at this point. You know, if no crown comes out of episode 3, it's obviously tilting in Team __'s favor, but the crown is the win. Essentially, the crown is the win. But I do want to talk about the Wolfgang and the Bulbous Boys. 800 kudos separates those two, so that is a little bit out of crown's distance. But if Wolfgang keeps it up, if Wolfgang brings their A game in all the races and grabs those gold medals and steals them, that could close the difference.
Yeah, I think if my math is right, could be very wrong. We're looking at a crown and only 3 medals there for Wolfgang, and Wolfgang was showing up with some medals there at the end. So if they can keep that going, like you said, gain 4 medals and then maybe a crown, that should be it. But my math could be a little off there.
I do believe you are correct about that. So anything can happen. You know, you could get a DoorDash. Maybe Wolfgang tries to go for the gold medal by doing the creative use of the level. One of the Bulbous boys only gets a pink. That automatically just brings you right back into it. All you need is the crown at that point. So that double crown at the beginning, you know, it looks like a death sentence, but anything is possible in Fall Guys, folks.
Definitely choked it.
Oh,
Definitely
for
choked
sure. And we are going to be getting back into the game as we're seeing ourselves another Tundra run. I've noticed that all of our Tundra runs, we haven't had many of the variants on the boxing glove. It's usually been boxing gloves, so no one's been having a chance to bring, I believe, Bert is the one in this map.
Yeah, Bert hiding under the stage. Obviously, not going to be seeing our competitors try and save him for the sake of the medals, but sometimes he does show up underneath.
Oh, you're not offering bonus points for Bert?
Oh, man. Maybe next Fallapalooza. That's something that we should have thought of. That's such a good idea.
You auto get gold. You get an extra 70 or an extra 105. You get the auto gold equivalency for just bringing Bert to the finish line.
The save Bert bonus. I love it.
I would love to see competitive players just fighting over it, even more so than I've already seen. But we do have ourselves doing our normal Tundra run. Everyone just running up, chilling out. First place looks like it went to, is really close there.
Can I really grab you?
It looked like Paleo took it, so that is a medal right there that we were just talking about.
Yep, that is gonna seal the deal. You know, they just got to do that 2 more times now. We're gonna assume that everybody got the silver medals there. I think, with the 1 gold medal exception for Paleo. So creeping up. It's just a couple medals and a crown difference away.
And another Tundra run. And again, we have boxing gloves up top. As I previously said, it's the only thing they want to show us right now. It's just boxing gloves. Nothing fancy.
Just punchers. They're really going with those Season 3 obstacles here.
Oh, that was a bit of a missed jump there by Rapid Wing Wolf. I don't know if it was a grab as well, or if it was just a mistimed jump.
Who knows? But everybody's coming up the front here. Was Fant able to get the first place? It didn't look like it. I think it was an NPC that snagged first place from him there. So only silver medals available across the board. But Shud not able to make the jump initially. Fur is getting kind of caught in limbo there. Fur, I think, getting hung up and going to be taking a bronze medal home. So same situation down here. You know, Team Slime Survivors might have just caught up 1 medal here, and they're only 100 points away, folks. That's about 3 medals as well. If those medals get caught up, maybe they don't even need to win a crown. Maybe Team Slime Survivors wins just on the kudos alone.
Yeah, I wanna make a point. I don't know if any of you guys have been seeing those. I saw an NPC there do at the end. If you've been doing have you been doing the double dive on that final fan?
The double dive.
Oh yeah, if you come up to that final fan as it's going back and forth, dive into it. You'll actually reset yourself as you come back up, and you can dive to the finish line.
Huh. Today I learned. Learning strats in the booth here with Neon Caster. It's good to know.
But as we get a seesaw, we see many checkpoint manipulations going on, and you see Drew Crew getting some of the best of them.
Paleo got a really good spawn on the left side. So Paleo is going to be running away with this one. And, taking the middle route to force Drew Crew to kind of have to follow him and secure that gold medal. Paleo's flying away with this one, folks. Another gold medal going to the Wolfgang, closing the gap. Obviously, winning a crown is no easy feat. You know, we're talking about how the kudos gap is being closed, but they still have to close it up with the crown afterwards as well. So even though the kudos is really good, it's all going to come down to that final episode.
But I'm sure that they would rather be able to have to work on 1 crown than hope to get 2 crowns.
That is a very good point, yep. And now, obviously still in the race games, but the other option is eliminate your opponents early and make sure that one of their players isn't getting kudos in any capacity anymore at all. So we'll have to see when the survival games start kicking in if one of the Wolfgang wants to make a move to eliminate one of the Bulbous boys.
Ooh, that was actually 2 medals there. That should be a bronze, I believe, for Lustrous.
Yeah, I think you're right because he came in 9th. I do think that that drops to 50%. So maybe 2 medals here. And if we're doing our math right, that's the difference, right? That's the difference. Now it's just a crown away with a couple games left to go until then. So.
Well, originally with just the 2 medals, I was doing the math. 2 medals and a crown was the tying point. Now we are officially at a point where if Wolfgang can pull this crown, this is going to be Wolfgang's game. Bulbous Boys does have the defender's advantage, not having to get the crown, and can definitely play a little more defensive. But that's still something that they need to keep in the back of their mind.
For sure. All Wolfgang has to do is catch the Bulbous Boys off guard, grab that crown, secure the victory.
Yeah, I love it for all the Nintendo Switch.
For sure, and we'll be loading into game 3 for them with Wolfgang really showing up and not messing around. This could be an easy game. I don't expect to see many mistakes from a block party. But I mean, this is a pretty sizable block party in itself as well.
Yeah, you don't expect to see it, but it can still very much happen. Wolfgang and the Bulbous Boys got to just survive. You know, we've seen some eliminations on the block party. These are we're not strangers to eliminations, surprise eliminations on block party, especially if you get that really bad pattern at the end. So we'll see which one we get here.
Yeah, Bulbous Boys also probably didn't want to see something like this, because if they could have gotten another race, they at least could have been trying to fight to get another kudo lead to make that double crown be the answer, but not being able to do that is definitely putting a damper to their spirits, most likely. But again, they have the crown lead, so it's still nice, but having a double crown lead could just be that much nicer.
Absolutely. We have about a minute until this game gets into the thin part of the stage, so let's go back to our other matchup, Team Slime Survivors, team__. Shud is getting flown around the stage right now, folks.
I highly doubt they don't.
Oh, yeah, that is, for a team that needs to get a couple kudos, that's not the way to get a couple kudos.
Where is he going? He actually got launched right back to the start of the stage. He is behind the pack right now, folks. He's got a lot of ground to make up if he wants to qualify. Big qualification numbers here. We're talking 24 qual, so he might still be safe. But yeah, he's got to pick up the pace.
Yeah, you might have to make a couple of those greedy plays up this side. I know that this is my favorite game, my best game, I would like to argue, based off stats, but I can't say I can beat the best of the best yet. That Chewy Louie's 41-second no flipper is kind of too insane for me to touch right now.
Berg kind of got flung off the side during the snowball part there. There's a lot of bodies up in front of him. Is he going to be able to qualify? Yes, he does. He crosses the line just in time. Pink medal, though. Again, Team Slime Survivors. I think that probably gives them a little bit of leeway to catch up a little bit there. Oh, but I did see Fant get a silver, and there were 2 bronzes for the Team Slime Survivors. So actually, cancel that. All of the kudos kind of just balance out moving on into the next game.
Yeah, with Fant taking the gold, I believe it was in the round 1 of this set, that does put Fur and Fant, if I'm not mistaken, still ahead in the medal count. It's still a crown game, but again, having that medal advantage, any kind of advantage, is always safer to have.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're going to be walking ourselves into a Hoopsie Daisy and the fan variant. I personally, this doesn't change my playstyle at all. I'm a slopes player, so I'm good right here. But how do you feel about the fan variant?
I think it's a really refreshing change. You know, the game changes quite a lot with the fan. With the fan, you are not scoring as many points because you're spending a lot of your time kind of floating through the air. A lot of these rings are going to be in the fan portion, but you've also got these flippers, and I love the flipper edition. It can be very tempting to very satisfying to just use the flippers, fly through the rings, get yourself into the fan, maybe pick up another one while you're flying through the air.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It definitely does make it a little bit exciting. It gives me, actually, being a slopes player, that one you just saw drop there down by Rapid Winning Wolf, right there in the middle. You can actually jump dive out and get that. So it's always nice to have another hoop to be able to fight for.
Absolutely, yep.
Love it.
And if you guys remember, Fallapalooza's rules state no throwing team games. So in that matchup, and also in this one, we're going to be seeing all of our players playing nicely, trying to get into the next round. We don't want to see, you know, a decisive victory based on a team playing poor sportsmanship in a team game, folks.
Yeah, and really interesting. We have a really close game here in this fall ball, and when we left the Hoopsie Daisy, it actually looked like our team was behind overall. So these are going to be some close games across the board. Looks like we got some tough NPCs to be going through.
Yep, the NPCs, you know, as our players get better, the NPCs also getting better. NPCs, for the people at home, non-participating contestants. All of the players in Fall Guys are, in fact, living people. They just don't know that they're in a $2,000 prize tournament, folks.
Should be it.
Wait, does this mean if they win, they get the prize?
Let's do this.
Unfortunately, can't give the NPCs the money, but hey, if we see a bean out there that's doing a real good job, maybe we'll reach out to him to get him into a tournament one day. Qualification for the yellow team here. That's what you like to see. Getting ready for a final. How did the other team game shape up? Let's take a peek. Just finishing up, and they do qualify, so they're also going to be moving on.
Went from behind to blowing out the last place team by 20 points. It's always a good setup, a good play, but now they might be getting close to the nitty-gritty because they can't get a team game here, and if they get another race, this is gonna be a low qual and a way to turn this game around.
But instead, it's a large number jump showdown. We're going right into the finals, folks. The decision of who will be moving on to the semifinals is going to be made right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Jump showdown, my dude. We are looking at a jump blowdown. We are getting to a really challenging map, and from what we've been seeing from all the races, this is a 1 crown. Or no, this is the wrong map, but either way, it is a 1 crown. But I know Fur and Fant have this medal advantage that they're going to be playing with, so they definitely don't need to win. They just can't let their opponents win it.
I think you're right. I think they are able to hold out the kudos advantage just a little bit moving into this final. We have another final going on over here, a hexagon with all 4 of our players now. Remember, Wolfgang has been crushing the gold medals. If they get the crown in this episode, that might be all that they need to move into the next round. It's up to the Bulbous Boys to just kind of hold on, hope for an NPC win, hope that they take home the crown instead.
Yeah, this game is all over relying. This game is all for Wolfgang to win, and that's it. Drew Crew and Lustrous of Bulbous Boys have already done what they needed to do. They just need to make sure that the win does not go the other way.
Oh, and we come back to this and look at all of the aggression that's already happened, already taking place. We only have 1 competitor remaining on the field, folks, against 3 NPCs on a jump blowdown. Shud just has to hold on. If Shud is able to hold on, then their team will be moving on to the next round. 2 NPCs remain. It is a jump blowdown, folks. You have to remember that adds an extra element of randomness and surprise to this jump showdown. And both of the competitors go off the edge because of the fan. The round is over. Shud takes home the crown and likely the win.
But we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We do see Stratosphere doing a jump dive technique, and this is getting really close. And we did we get it? It looks like it.
Wait a second. I think Stratosphere was able to take home the crown. It's gonna come down to kudos, folks. The exact scenario that we were talking about, they needed that crown. He almost rips his shirt off in excitement. But man, they needed the crown in episode 2 and they got it. They needed the crown in episode 3 and they got it. It's, oh man, it all comes down to the medals. Who had the medals? Are they gonna have enough? It's gonna come down to the kudos, folks.
I don't think they did, but I want to say Wolfgang played their game 1. Game 2 up against seed number 1, a team with more than 4,000 wins together, and was able to come and fight that. And now they're coming up against Bulbous Boys, and they're not batting back yet. They are still pushing forward the whole way.
Yeah.
Both of these games were phenomenal across the board, making it come down to the wire. That comeback, you would have thought that double crown was it, but no. That was one hell of a fight coming back there.
And that's just what you look at these and you have to say, this is how Fall Guys goes. A double crown isn't a death sentence. If you're in the position where your opponents have just gotten a double crown against you, don't give up, never surrender, because it can turn around in an instant, folks. And we're seeing it here. The scores are very slowly trickling in. We will have a winner for you in just a few moments. But man, both of these matchups were close for different reasons.
Yeah, geez, that, like we said, we keep talking about that first game because that was just a huge comeback. That if it did happen, that's a highlight right there. That's the play that could have won it. Like we keep saying, every round has a team showing up and doing something insane that was unthinkable at the start, and then just turning everyone's mind to be like, oh, now it's just going to be casual talk because it's happened. But while it was going on, no one's like, oh yeah, 2 crowns, come back, nice and easy, especially when in the first round, you already lost a person before the final, so you lost those extra kudos there. And then in the other game, we're talking a really close game down to medals, to the point where as long as no one got the crown, it was still going to be like 100-point game.
Yep, if nobody got the crown. But at the last moment, Shud was the player who stayed in the competition, held their ground, just had to wait for the NPCs to make a falter. He stood his ground. He got that crown when he needed it. And now look where he is. He's bringing his team to the next round.
I'm not gonna lie, I would love to see, because we missed the middle, but we saw the final, we saw the finish. I would love to see the middle of how both of those turned out, because I want to know, how did Shud become the final person of the 4 standing, and how did Stratosphere get to that point? Was it through a couple of greaves? Because I know he was doing really good running around up top, doing a lot of cutting off there.
Yeah, it must have been. Obviously, flipping back and forth, we've got 2 finals happening simultaneously. The action is so split. It's so hard to keep track of everything. But what does matter at the end of the day is the scores, the kudos coming in. The results are going to speak for themselves in just a moment here. We're still tabulating the scores. We're still receiving them from our players. But man, what a way to kick off Fallapalooza Sunday.
I mean, this, like I say, this is what I'm here for. I am here for excitement, close games, hype games, and I'm here to make them as good as they can be.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And the players are doing just a fantastic job of making sure that that is true as well. And what a way to kick it off. Now, reminder, if you move on to the semifinals, if you're the top 4 teams today, you have automatically solidified yourself in the money, the $2,000 prize pool. A chunk of that will be yours. So our winning teams today in this first quarterfinal round will be moving on, whether it be in the 3rd place match or the finals. They're winning some money today, folks. So we're going to see our 2 of the 4 coming up right away.
And something else to think about, Stratosphere, I believe, won both of those crowns for Wolfgang. He was the one who made the comeback for both those crowns.
I think you're right.
That is some clutch play by Stratosphere right there. I'm betting Palio is definitely thanking his partner, and I can't wait to see how he makes it up in these semifinals, potentially, if they made it, in any future games. But I personally think they made it. I consider myself a little bit of a calculator when it comes to kudos.
We're going to have to find out. It's going to be in the kudos. Like,
it's really close.
It's real close. There was like an 800 kudos difference between the 2 teams, which is just a little bit underneath the value of 1 crown. So it's gonna come down to the kudos. I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know who it's gonna be. Out of those 2, it's gonna be real close. I think our scores are finally tabulated. We're gonna switch over to the scorecard in just a second here. We'll show you who's coming out on top.
Oh my lord!
Wow.
1 medal difference between Wolfgang and Bulbous Boys.
Literally 1 medal. We almost had ourselves a tie situation here, but Wolfgang's medals just a fraction stronger than their opponents. And look, that double crown at the beginning is so juicy. You look at it and you're like, oh, they're gonna run away with this. The Wolfgang says, oh no, you don't. We're coming back strong. We're fighting our way into the semifinals, and they're solidifying a spot for themselves, folks.
Yeah, and I gotta point out, this is 2 teams scoring above 4,000, by the way.
That's right. Both
That's-
teams.
That's a lot of kudos for 3 games amongst 4 players.
That's insane. 4 crowns, 3 episodes, 4,000 kudos plus on both sides of the bracket here. Wow.
And
What a
remember, one of
comeback.
these players did not make a final in one of them.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm sorry to keep throwing shine over here, but that is such a close game. But on the other side, like you said, we do have the win going to the Team Slime Survivors over Team __ with that final crown victory. And if you do look at the score, it does look indeed they needed that crown. They did not get back in those medals, so that crown was the only necessity to win. There was no other way that they could have come back there.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, the crown was the deciding factor there. If Team __ had managed to eliminate the crowns from all of the competitors, then there would have been they would have come out on top. It was basically Team Slime Survivors needed the win. They got the finals with the slime. They survived. They're moving on.
Yeah, and I'm excited already. 2 big team, from how they're playing, 2 teams that haven't made semifinals from my knowledge before are all of a sudden coming out and showing that, again, we'll keep saying it, we'll be the broken record. It doesn't matter. Anyone can win these crowns. Our 32nd seed team is not a bad team. They are a great team. It just comes down to the games go in their favor. Do the RNG of the spawns come in their favor? Anyone can make these plays. Absolutely
have to agree with you there. Yep. Absolutely. And we're seeing it right here, some brand newcomers joining the fray, first timers, Team Slime Survivors in competitions, taking out a heavyweight favorite in this competition to make it into the semifinals today, folks. Let's take a look over at the bracket if we could, and let's take a peek again really quick at the teams that are upcoming here on the other half of the quarterfinals bracket.
Yeah, looks like we still have the Has-Beens and 2 Peas in a Pod coming up with the team of Trip Hop and Puffly Jig on the Has-Beens. And then we got Bear Torv and Essence going for 2 Peas in a Pod. I'm excited to see that. These 4 teams together, we're talking 6,000 plus crowns, I believe.
I think you're right. 2 Peas in a Pod, they've played 6 episodes and they have 6 crowns. There was a double crown in there somewhere as well. So 2 Peas in a Pod coming in real strong. They have the highest score in a Fallapalooza 3-episode match that we've seen in the history of Fallapalooza with 6,000 kudos flat. So they're just hitting the ground running. They are blazing. They are playing out of their minds. And they've already come across teams stronger than them in crown counts. And here's another one right now with the Has-Beens. Trip Hop has 2,700 crowns plus. His teammate Puffly Jig sitting somewhere around 600. So, they aren't getting the easy road by any means, but they're still managing to pull out the wins. And let's see if they can do it again today.
Yeah, and while they're getting ready to go in this, I just did a quick look over at the bracket to confirm my suspicion. This Wolfgang versus Bulbous Boys we just had is the highest scoring total kudo game of the tournament so far.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. 8,000 kudos between the 2 teams. Doesn't surprise me, folks.
Yeah, but we're getting ourselves back into a nice hit parade. I'm sure all the players love these new hit parade setups. I know I'm not a fan of them, but oh, that was a really good grief there at the end and a stolen first.
Did they get the gold medal or did they just prevent the Has-Beens from getting it? I think it might have been just the latter, but still, the medals matter, right? You could hear the communication right away. They were just like, "Yeah, I stole it from him. I stole that gold medal." So we're gonna see the medals pop up on the screen just to confirm that. But yeah, silver's across the board, so no gold medal there.
But definitely still tied, and I'm excited for this match in 2 reasons. One, because I'm a fan of a lot of these players, but 2 Peas in a Pod, they just went through Wraith and Ryan Bushman, and they played a strategy where they tried to focus around not so much the weaker player, but the less established player in the Fall Guys community. And they established attacking that side of the players. And if you look at Trip Hop and Puffly, I'm not saying that Puffly's worse, but again, Puffly is in that situation where he is the less established player versus Trip Hop standing next to him. So we may see another strategy like that.
It wouldn't be like, it's a pretty smart play, I'd say. It's a pretty smart play to try and establish some sort of strategy. Make it a 2v1 if you can, right? Put yourself in the power seat. I think Two Peas in a Pod is one of the teams that we're seeing that does that really, really well. A lot of players, they come into Fall Guys competitions, and what they try to do is they just try to play the games as if they were playing them casually. Speed run those levels, get the levels out of the way, be as fast as you can, and get those gold medals. And while that's a decent strategy, you got to look at the other half of Fall Guys. You got to look at the survival games. You got to look at how the medals way into the equation, and you got to try and factor in making it harder for your opponents to get those medals in the first place.
Yeah, and over here we do have Team Eminem and positive vibes going in a round 1 DoorDash. All the players can breathe. It's not a round 2 DoorDash, but still a little freaky to see.
Oh, and Miggy using the level creatively to get the gold. You love to see this, folks.
Nice, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, definitely. I still say it's a risky play, but if it is in front of you, you should always try it at least once if it appears, because you can always make the comeback to get the silver. And so many players just naturally will get bronzes here.
Absolutely, yeah. Eminem, you can, with a play like that, first episode of the day, first game of the day, and they're already showing that they're here to play. Nice. Miggy doing his little celebration dance for the gold medal. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and if you saw, Freshie even got the bronze there, so that's a full 70 kudo lead already right there.
Good way to start for Team Eminem.
Now we're going back over to the Has-Beens and Two Peas in a Pod and a nice ski fall. We'll see what strategies they use. Which one are you the most fan of the major 3 strategies I've been seeing going around?
Well, the 2 that I advocate for, there's the one where you just go down the side, hit the bullseye 3 times. I think that's probably the most consistent way to get 15 points relatively fast. For me, I like to go, bronze, silver, gold on the hill the first time, and then a silver gold for the second time to get 15 in 2 passes. That's the speedrun strat anyway, in my opinion. What about you?
So I have a different speedrun strat that I am working on right now. I think it is definitely faster, but I'm trying to get consistent because I've always used the 5-5-5, always get a silver, sometimes a gold. It's very consistent, always gets high medals, get that decent amount of kudos. But I've been working on you run down the side, get your 5, and if you do that, you will immediately get your respawn fast enough that you can do silver, gold, gold, and do a 5-10, and instead of having to take the time doing all those jumps, you get a little bit faster because you only had to go through the spinners once.
I like that.
That's weird.
I've noticed that is a consistent, if you can hit it, it's a consistent sub 20 time.
Yeah, true. Let's get it.
Looks like Puffly Jig would have gotten a better medal in that game had he not run into the current glitch that we're experiencing with Ski Fall, where if you don't dive at that ski ball portion at the end, sometimes your rings don't count.
Yeah, I've noticed from what I've been getting consistency with is as long as you hit the top portion of the wall and you just land on it, even if you're standing, you can go into it, but it's harder to land on it when you are obviously standing versus a dive.
Absolutely.
But we got ourselves nice egg scramble here. I absolutely do not like the egg games. I just think they're a little boring, personally. You do the same thing every single time.
I think when it comes to competitive Fall Guys, a lot of competitive players kind of gripe about the team games because, especially in this format where everybody has to play nice, there is no strategical benefit to team games at all. We kind of just have to, we use them as a waiting screen, perhaps. But the eggs games are kind of an exception. You really have to rely on your teammates and hope that they're doing their job to make it to the next round. But it's a lot easier when you've got 4 all-star players on your team.
I think Miggy thinks this is Jump Showdown?
No, I tried.
I think you might be right. They're doing a really good job, I have to say.
Yeah, this is definitely really good. But again, we're doing another team tail tag.
2 team tail tags in the same day.
Yeah, I guess we're just seeing a lot of 40 quals or 40 starts.
Yeah, it must be, because this game is typically pretty rare. You never really see the team tail tag games because the conditions are very hard to meet. You need either 40 or 36 or some divisible by 4 large lobby game, and it's still obviously competing with the other race games and the other things like that. So it's a very rare show. But here we're seeing it twice in the same game. Both of our teams getting put on the green team. They'll probably qualify. The odds are pretty high. So let's take a look at Team Eminem here. One of our teams making it into the quarterfinals today, folks.
So for Miggy, I gotta say something. I'm reading this right now. I did not know that Candy Crush had a finish.
Me
At
neither.
all.
I thought it was just pay to play forever.
Yeah, I just thought they just kept giving you randomized levels and say, "Here, beat this somehow. Beat this somehow." So I'm pretty astounded that there is an end, and I need to figure out what that level number is.
And shoutouts for not only Candy Crush but Soda Crush, and back in 2015, you know, epic
Yeah.
mobile games player. We talk about the diversity of the players in Fallapalooza, folks. You got speedrunners, and you've got shooting game MLGs, and you've got card game MLGs, and you've also got Candy Crush MLGs, folks.
100 and also 100K points playing Snake on your dad's phone. I know that if I attempted to do something like that with my family's phone, I would be yelled at before I got to that amount of points because they would want their phone back.
Yeah. Melody always, I love Melody's energy. Whenever she comes into these competitions, her gaming accomplishment is always just pristine. I think the last one she said that she had caught over 350 sea bass in the first week of Animal Crossing New Horizons, which astounding.
I have not played any of the Animal Crossing games, so I do not know the intricacies of what that means. I haven't drawn an interest to that kind of game yet.
Totally understandable. Yeah, it's the kind of game that if you let yourself play it, you will get sucked in for weeks, if not months. It's a momentum-based game. You know, you keep it almost like, have you ever played World of Warcraft? You do your dailies.
Yeah, I've done World of Warcraft. I get more addicted to a lot of those mobile pay-to-win games that I shouldn't be playing. But we do have a final of a Thin Ice going on here.
Yep, all 4 of our players have made it into this Thin Ice final. 11 to eliminate here. 11 total players in this Thin Ice. Only one can come out on top. Who is going to have the better strategy here? Now, I always ask my co-hosts when they come onto this show, what is your strategy for Thin Ice? Because it's always different for everybody. What goes through your mind in the first minute of a Thin Ice? What are you trying to do?
So I'm going to be a very interesting answer to almost any question you ask like that, because as a coach, I have different strategies based on the situation. If I'm playing a team that I would consider better than me, you would have seen my strategy the last Fallapalooza, which would be go after the players and not let them breathe.
Yeah.
And that is the only reason that last tournament I was able to pull the upset victory with me and KLM that I really shouldn't have had much business doing, but an amazing turnaround grab by Trip Hop there.
Essence gets thrown into the slime, and so now, yes, it's just a 2v1 situation. Bear is over by Trip now, and they're kind of dancing around each other a little bit. Puffly Jig gets pushed into the slime by an NPC, so now it's a 1v1 situation, folks. They're grabbing, they're jumping in different directions, but it looks like Bear went the wrong way. Bear's got to make a couple big jumps, and he does it to get into the big part of the platform here. There's one pigeon NPC left on a big island, and now, oh, look at this play, folks.
Look at Trip Hop running across the board like it's a normal day for him, getting that win.
Trip Hop makes the perfect play to go to the larger area of Thin Ice tiles, leaving Bear and the NPC behind. What an incredible move by Trip Hop to win that Thin Ice, folks.
I mean, that is expected by the man who has, I believe, the most crowns of any player in this tournament right now.
And now we come back to a jump showdown. It looks like Freshie must have gotten eliminated in a game previous because it's only Team Eminem versus Nightwalker here in this final, folks.
Yeah, and looking at the earlier rounds we were seeing, it definitely looked like Eminem was doing a lot better when it came to the races, getting those extra medals. So this is definitely slightly a bigger need to get this crown. But Mickey being thrown off is going to make this a nice 1v1. This is actually a lot better for positive vibes, and it's going to be a really close game. This could be a game changer, a big momentum swing, if you will, for this game.
Yep, it looked like Miggy got pushed off by the desync crowd. Just a bad cycle with these arms here. And now you can see Melody is just using the NPCs, trying to keep distance from Nightwalker. Nightwalker is kind of psyching her out at every opportunity, and Melody misses her jump. Nightwalker is the only player left in this competition right now, folks. It's just 2 NPCs. One of them is on the other platform. He's either going to have to time it out with that slushy on the other side or outlast them all.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna go for the grief because it looked like he wasn't doing any grabs whatsoever, and it looked like Freshie was doing that for him. And then both the opponents fell off from mistakes that this NPC may not feel any threat and may be willing to go for that 5-minute jump off point.
And he's got another NPC on his platform, a fellow boxer in the yellow headgear. Not going to be trying to do anything risky here. Not going to try and risk the grab on this NPC. You don't want to make enemies when you're in this high stakes situation, but you also got to watch your back because that NPC could turn at any moment.
Yeah, and on a plus side, this definitely looks a little good for Eminem, being it's not the double tile variant. You only have one, so I mean it can get a little tighter in that 3 to 5 minute area. So we could see some quite tight jumps going on that could change the outcome for positive vibes. Something close like that.
Ooh, that was a bad cycle for Nightwalker, but he's able to squeak by. The NPC on the other side isn't able to squeak by. And look at that, folks. Nightwalker bringing home the first crown in this matchup.
But from what
Wow.
I believe, it's nothing to fret too much because that should be a kudo advantage before crown for Eminem. So it's not even like a kudo. They need kudos plus the crown. They just need to get a crown and they're back in this. But let's look at our teams right now with positive vibes right here.
Positive vibes, always bringing the energy. I love the positive vibes and what they bring to the Fall Guys community. You know, Nightwalker lists as his gaming accomplishment being considered a pro Fall Guys player as a gaming accomplishment all on its own. Such a good influence. You know, positive vibes really fits the bill here. I love seeing these guys in competitions, and they're coming off a win. They're coming off a real big win right now. Last weekend, showing up to the Bean Brawl, taking the first place. Can they make it a back-to-back tournament win, folks? That's what they're here to prove right now.
Yeah, and looking down at Freshie, you see graduated Robert Morris with an esports scholarship. Again, another one of those Hearthstone players coming and breaking into the Fall Guys scene.
You're right. That diverse background. You know, Nightwalker, his teammate, is from Fortnite. You got Eminem on the other side. Again, they're listing their gaming accomplishments as like mobile games and stuff like that. But the diversity of the game is really, really interesting to me.
Yeah, all these like we've been saying, players from everywhere. I'm waiting for people to start listing. Yeah, I played Mario Party and have been undefeated in Mario Party, and I'm here, which would make complete sense in my mind.
It's funny that you say that because I think in the last Fallapalooza we had a speedrun world record holder for Mario Party 5 on the roster. So
I might have to. I didn't know that was a thing. I might have to start speedrunning some Mario Party games. That was my bread and butter growing up.
if you're a glutton for punishment and you don't mind the game screwing you over with RNG, Mario Party speedruns are for you. Let's take a look at the scores.
Yeah, looking over, we have the has-beens and 2 peas in a pod with Trip Hop pulling out that amazing run victory to get them at 1720 to 1055.
Yep, so just under a crown's worth of kudos. 2 peas in a pod, dominating those races. You can see it in the 510 and the 545 over Puffly Jig's 440. So the situation, the story on both of these matchups is basically the same right now. You know, the players who came away with the crown were not the ones getting the gold medals in the races prior. So if the other team strikes back with a crown of their own, suddenly the lead swaps over going into episode 3.
Yeah, and looking over at Positive Vibes and Eminem, like you said, same thing. We got the 1580 to 950 with Positive Vibes in the lead, but that Freshie getting 370 to both Melody and Miggy Moans 475s. That is definitely going to be a hard-fought victory, but if you look at Nightwalker, it looks like he matched him at the 475 point before getting that crown as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And 600 kudos separates those two teams. It's anybody's game still. You know, shout outs to Nightwalker going into a 1v2 against Eminem on a jump showdown. We've seen it before, folks. You know, you expect to have the advantage in a 2v1 situation going into a final like that. But time and time again, that's when players kind of enter this clutch mode. They bring out their full stops. That's when they kind of get feisty. That's when they kind of bring out these unexpected strategies, and you saw it with Nightwalker here, bringing home the crown.
For sure. And I mean, a big thing is everyone sitting here. I know a lot of players, a lot of teams, they're just doing scrims after scrims after scrims, and they're trying to make sure they're prepared to play opponents. They're getting their grabs, they're getting all this. But the thing is, like you just saw with Melody and Miggy, they both lost not because of their opponents, but because they weren't reading the NPCs' actions there, which definitely is a big fault as well. You definitely need to make sure you're playing solos as well, so you can read how NPCs that you're going to be playing against constantly are playing as well.
I agree. Yeah, the NPCs are not just, pieces. They're not just pawns. They have to be taken into consideration when it comes to winning these Fall Guys tournaments as well. They're very much a part of the scene. And they can cause problems, especially when it comes to desync.
For sure. And as we get back into it, it looks like we have ourselves Positive Vibes and Eminem. It looks like they may have just gotten an insta-queue or something, going right into a seesaw.
Little seesaw action. Positive Vibes. Up at the front is Nightwalker, using the warps to his advantage here and just able to edge out a little bit over Miggy Moan on the left side. Miggy Moan stuck with the pack now, and with this variation where you kind of have to swing out to the outside and then back in, it can be very easy to get stuck with what I call the kindergartners who don't know their physics homework yet. You have to watch the seesaws. You have to hope that they understand that you got to tip it one way before the other way.
Yeah, and you do see Freshie back here with them as well.
Interesting strategies here. I think the NPCs are specifically trying to throw the seesaw in one direction. It's hard to say, but it's putting Miggy Moan back a little bit now, and he has to play a little bit of catch-up. Melody's going to qualify, Nightwalker's going to qualify, but Freshie and Miggy Moan are both caught behind the pack a little bit. I don't think that they can reliably get silver medals here. I think they got to settle with bronze.
Yeah, and I'm sure that both of them have the same thing in mind since they see where each other is, and that's just at least get the same medal as the other one at this point, because you already have the one medal advantage in Nightwalker, so you do have that little leniency. And Freshie's having some troubles right there trying to get up on this purple platform, and he may have some more troubles with all these people jumping up. But going over to this Night Fever right now, we have... It looks like Trip Hop and Bear Torv. Bear Torv going to take first. Trip Hop not too far behind.
That's right. So Essence and Bear, they might not have won that last crown, but they're still dominating the races, folks. They're still pulling in those gold medals, as you can see. And if they win another crown, if they win a crown to react to the has-beens, that's brings them right back into it, puts them in the lead. So they're not faltering. They're keeping their momentum strong despite losing the crown in the last episode.
Yeah, and they definitely are looking for that crown, and they are more looking to make sure they have 2 rounds to get a crown, and 2 rounds to make sure also the has-beens don't get one again themselves.
I'm curious to see if Freshie was able to pull out the win there. We'll go back to that episode in just a second, but the has-beens, again, one of our top seeded teams in this tournament, the has-beens, seed number 2, coming in with 2,700 crowns is Trip Hop. We got to talk about his gaming accomplishment. 144-44 combined Fall Guys record in CMG, UMG. These are solo Fall Guys tournaments, so either you face 1v1, you either move on or you don't. A record of 144-44 means he's got he's got a 66% win rate, essentially, almost like a 75% win rate in these tournaments, which is just outstanding.
Yeah, and after hearing about this tournament, I definitely need to get back there and try and learn about these tournaments, because this is a tournament scenario that I've not known about with those. But also, coming back here, we do have Positive Vibes and Eminem going at an OnlyFans, and it does look like Freshie did make it. We don't know what medal that Freshie ended up getting, but it's possible it could have been a bronze, but if not, they would have at least tied out on medals.
Absolutely, yep. So... that's what Eminem needs, The Eminem was kind of hoping that Positive Vibes falters on the medals so that when they get a crown for themselves, it brings them right back into it. And going right from Seesaw into Big Fans, these are what I call the exercise games. You qualify real early, you wait for the NPCs. The NPCs always seem to have trouble with these games for whatever reason. So you're able to kind of take a step away from your computer, get your stretches in, refill your water, maybe do some push-ups while you're waiting. Before you get into the nitty-gritty that is the 3rd round.
Yeah, it does look like Positive Vibes is just showing the people how to do this map. Is it looks like they're just gonna do a nice, easy 1-2 right here.
Very well done. Yeah, Freshie had to take a little dip to the right side, but no big deal. Melody right on his tail, so a silver medal for Melody. Miggy might have to settle for a bronze. It's looking kind of tight. 7th place? 8th place. I think that's a bronze, folks.
8th place should? Didn't they get a... Yeah, if they got a 39 qual, then yes. But I don't know if it was a 39 qual in the last one or a 40.
Sprinting Shark. Seems like a
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's 29 to qual this time, so yeah, it really depends on how many people were in the game. But we'll see. We'll see when everybody rolls in. Obviously, Seesaw does take a long time, like I said. Stretch your legs, chat. Get yourself some more water. Be back here.
Yeah, this is the NPC's bread and butter game. I'm sure many people here have seen this game time out a lot more than it ever should, but this one has some of the best gamers apparently in it of the NPC crowd, and Eminem and Positive Vibes may have a run for their money. And if I believe at the start of that, we did see the silver medal popping in there because it did look like we did have 41 people going into that map.
That's right. So, you know, Miggy Moan going to be happy about that. Solidifying 35 more kudos to their total. Here we go. Fruit shoot, and what I love about this right now, as a competitor, you hate to see it, but there are no yeets on this fruit shoot. You got to rely on just your ability to avoid the fruit, and that is all, folks.
I honestly think, and everyone hates me for it that I've ever told, I am a fan of fruit shoot without the yeets. But over here you see Beartorv and Essence, apparently the fastest runners in the world. Doesn't matter what's going on. They'll just jump their way all the way up to victory with no problem.
18 qual means that they had a pretty safe bet getting in here. But yeah, Essence, Beartorv, first and second, dominating these races, dominating these gold medals all the way through this competition. That's why they're so dangerous. You know, they're always winning these races. They're always pulling in the gold medals. You have to beat them on crowns or you won't beat them at all.
Yeah, and you did see at least Trip Hop and Puffly are over there, at least getting those silvers to fight back. And we have a really rowdy crowd in this block party here.
Ooh, it's the variant with the boxes, and oh man, it always just I always just have to chuckle at all of the NPCs that get stuck in the boxes. They don't understand what's happening to them. Maybe their first time in the game, perhaps getting stuck in the boxes, getting swept off the stage. Obviously, not going to be happening to our opponents today. They're keen on what this variant's all about.
Yeah, I don't know. We always have the nice desync run potential at the end. I am unsure if these are always set as they are. I've always found this to be a very easy map that I assume that players should just learn how to play around and not really learn I think learning how to play block party is a lot more important than just having to learn the variations.
Oh no, they fell off the front.
I thought I heard Melody say there that she fell off the front, so I was very confused for a second. But we are walking in here to this nice, easy round of just sitting around, hanging out. But we do have a wolf up top, which means they have a gamer in their lobby, able to make this head jump to the top, being able to make sure that they're going to qualify, not actually even have to play this for the easy method. So we are going to be getting into our next round here, seeing what's going to happen. Positive Vibes and Eminem, and it does keep looking like Positive Vibes is not letting up and they want this. But as we do come back, we do get to see an egg siege this time. Still an egg game, but it does look like Red is absolutely out of the game. They are not having a great time. But while they're not having a great time, Essence doesn't care. He wants to make every team but his not have a great time. Going all the way up, throwing it out instead of just clearing out the base. Blue does still have a gold egg, and Essence doesn't even care. Halfway up, I'm going to toss it out. And then you also see the great defense going on down here by, this would be Trip Hop, just playing it by himself, not even doing the 2v2 defense, just kind of chilling out, tossing them back. Normally you would want someone on the other side helping you out, but who needs help if you could just defend this whole place yourself?
Oh my god.
Exactly. Yep. You know, I always say the team games are about finding a loser. It's not about being the winner in these team games. It's about not being the loser, and the red team
they got
obviously not doing a very good job of that.
I mean, Freshie was.
But you know
Common-
who's
Yeah.
coming in hot, being the winner
Boxer room
is
night.
Nightwalker.
Yeah, that was again, I was gonna say that is exactly what Positive Vibes did last round. A nice 1-2 qual, and they're just doing it again. They're not here messing around. They want 1-2 qual every single map. They did it on OnlyFans. They did it here. They are here to get runs, and they don't want to let up on these kudos. I made a mention at the start that Eminem, they were winning all the medals in the round one. They just didn't get the crown. But here's Nightwalker and Freshie saying, all right, we'll get those too this game. They just want to show us wrong.
Yeah, Eminem was dominating the medals in the first episode, but Nightwalker got a little taste of that crown, and now he is just on fire, pulling in gold medals all the way through this episode.
Yeah, right now we got a 12-person thin ice, and then we're also going to be walking into a 10-person final on the other side. So I don't know which one's going to end first. It all depends on what map that the other team is going to load into. But with 10, they could be getting a Fall Mountain. But here we do have a thin ice, and it does look like Bear Torv and Essence are going to run out the outside. I do enjoy this strategy at times, to answer your question from before. I do enjoy this strategy as well, because if you're ending the outside first, you're basically telling your opponents, I'm better at grabbing, I'm better outplaying you in the middle, and I don't have to hope for an island. Whereas if you are in a situation where you want to play it safe, want to make sure you get that island and just play it, you're very welcome to do that just as well.
Yep, I think I agree with that. A lot of the time, thin ice kind of breaks itself up into different chunks, and it's about being smart enough to find the island that is the best for you. But we come back to this final. We're talking about how Nightwalker is destroying the race levels. Eminem saw that, and they said, you know what? Get him out. We're going to just make this a 2v1 situation. We're not going to let Nightwalker breathe, and he's already off the stage, folks. So Eminem versus Freshie right now in a thin ice of their own.
Yeah, and the one thing that I see, they're definitely target grabbing over here. You see Miggy being the one to do all the grabbing while Melody's just trying to survive. And I'm sure Miggy's very fine having to take Freshie with him if possible. But the issue with what they're doing, and I don't like doing this in thin ice, is players, the NPCs, they will grab you back if they see you grabbing anyone.
That's true. That is a good point.
You do not have to grab the NPC to anger the NPC. And Freshie, they're getting really close. These grabs are getting very annoying, but Freshie's staying cool and calm, collected, being able to play through like it's just a normal day. Freshie just needs to be able to find an area away from everyone else. But if you go over here, we definitely see that it was Bear Torv pulling up the win for 2 peas in a pod. And with all those race victories, this is going to put him ahead in kudos, putting the pressure on the has-beens.
Absolutely. We love to see that. Let's take a quick pop over to the other game. Let's see if Freshie's able to survive. We got to see the end of this here. Thin ice final.
That's huge.
But also, while we were looking at that, they got every gold medal amongst them if you looked around. Bear Torv won all of them, and then except one that Essence took. But we do have Melody and Miggy both here versing an NPC. So Miggy's trying to fight off this NPC right now. Or no,
Yeah,
they just had one person screen up.
It's just Miggy left. That's right. It's just Miggy left, and he's able to outlast the NPC and fight back with a crown. So look at that, folks. In both of our episodes that we're watching right now, one team comes in, grabs that crown. The other team fights right back, says, how do you do? And it's going to be real close on the kudos across both of our episodes, folks.
Yeah, these people have heard my calling. I want close games. They're giving them to me. The thing is, though, that is different from our first time, where we were seeing roughly after the first episode, we were seeing the same thing. One team dominated the races, the other team won the crown. This time, we saw the same on Nightwalker's side. We saw in Positive Vibes versus Eminem, they switched roles. And so it was still the one team dominating the races, the other team getting the crown. But the has-beens versus 2 Ps is a little different, in which case now the team that won the races is winning the crown, which is going to lay on, like I said, the pressure for the has-beens. But all these games are now one crown and it's over.
Absolutely. And yeah, not to discredit any of these teams at all, right? They're all kind of gunning for themselves. I think that there's maybe one team that's coming out on top in the races in both situations, but you're going to see the difference in the kudos, right? All 4 of these teams in the quarterfinals right now have a crown. It's going to come down to episode 3 to decide it.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see how close some of these scores are. I know it's got to be really close for the Positive Vibes versus Eminem one, for them just literally switching roles up. I know that Positive Vibes was dominating some races, though, versus the first round. And then on the other side, you know it's got to be a couple 100 points.
And here the scores roll in, and look at the differences we have here, folks.
Oh my lord. So 140, which is literally a 4 medal difference between the has-beens and 2 peas in a pod, with the has-beens down at 2740 to 2880 for 2 peas in a pod. And on the other side, we're looking at a 1 medal difference going into the final. So every medal going up to this final of round 3 is going to matter so much.
It's going to matter huge. It's going to matter big time. All 4 of our teams have 1 crown right now. If all of these games, if all of these episode 3s drop with no crowns for either team, we could be looking at going down to kudos, folks. We've already seen a really close, like literally 1 medal difference in the other quarterfinal matches, and we're looking at something just as close upcoming in these 2.
Yeah, this is between Positive Vibes and Eminem. This is a close race across the board. I don't know. They both need to just keep playing the games that they're playing. There's not much you can tell them. They're doing what they need to do. 2 peas in a pod, obviously, playing exactly how they need to do. They are showing up. They got the crown. They're still winning their races. The only thing I can suggest is that the has-beens, they really need to focus on getting those races. They are doing well in the finals. They are participating in the finals. They are putting on pressure in those finals. But that's not going to do it if no one gets the crown. They need to lay on some pressure in these races. Maybe get a little griefy in a race or two to make the Beartorv and Essence actually have to take a different approach than just race the map.
Absolutely, because they're running away with those gold medals right now, you know? The scores are so close together. There's 1 medal difference between Positive Vibes and Eminem, but on the top side, you got Beartorv and Essence just kind of proving that they're better at those races. They're proving that they will run away with it if you let them.
Yeah, and looking here at the players for 2 peas in a pod, we got Essence saying the first player to achieve infallible during tournament play. I do not know which tournament that was. Do you happen to know that?
Infallible during tournament play, if I had to take a guess, that would probably be the Bean Brawl. Some sort of squads tournament makes that really easy to accomplish, but who knows? Maybe it was in a solos tournament. We'll have to ask Essence. He says chase for the crown 4. So yeah, it was a squad tournament.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know it's not Bean Brawl. I've casted all the Bean Brawls, and I know that the first Infallible was just done at the last Bean Brawl.
That's right. Yep, that did happen. We got an Infallible. I think Team Uwu was able to get an Infallible for our good friend, oh hey, it's David, during the Bean Brawl.
Yeah.
That
was like you forgot about it or something.
Yeah.
Make it sound like, oh yeah, it was just this random team out there, not your own team or anything.
Yeah, you know. So man, you think about Infallible as this incredible achievement in gaming, and it absolutely is. All of the stars have to align to make it happen. These top players, though, coming away with Infallibles in tournaments like this, you can't understate that.
Yeah, what was baffling to me is I was in Nightwalker's chat for a little bit before the finals came up and the semifinals, and I think Indo got Infallible before they even came to start, like they were doing practice rounds, and Indo just got Infallible, I think it
Amazing.
was. And it's just like, okay, whatever. Just random Infallibles all over the board. Let's just keep casting.
Amazing stuff from these
But we're getting into this 1 medal difference game, starting out with a hit parade. And this isn't a great start for Miggy, who is the team that is down 1 medal.
But it does look like a good start for Melody, and it's the variation with the bars. Melody is all by herself on the right side, but you can see Nightwalker on the left side getting a little bit caught up by the NPCs. Who's out in front? Oh, the candle body tackles Melody at the opening of the gate there, taking the first place and maybe solidifying the gold medal for the NPCs. We'll have to see how these bumpers go. Now, in Season 3.5, they just, like, they cranked the speed on these things to 11.
No, it looks like the NPC stole it on the feed from Melody. Melody got the second, so everyone's going to be trying to get those silvers right now. I think it was silvers, or did Miggy get the bronze?
That's alright, as long as you qual.
As long as you qual, says Melody. Yeah, definitely a bronze medal
Yeah,
for
super
Miggy
close.
Moan there. So
my
dropping
game
the medal. Now they're 2 medals behind. You know, we're going to be in the commentary booth really hounding on those medals, really hounding on, you know, how many kudos are going one way or the other. It's going to matter, folks. Now they're 2 medals behind.
I guess. We kind of
Yeah, and like as we're saying, 2 medals behind. Yeah, it's like they said, as long as you qual, get to the final, because the crown does win it. But as we keep saying, being able to know that you don't have to win the final is such a time reliever. It takes off so much stress. You're able to focus on just whatever you need to do in the game instead of, all right, I need to win. I need to win this game.
Yeah. You, as a competitive player, you're kind of always analyzing your possibilities. You're always analyzing what scenarios allow you to come out on top. And if the scenario of nobody getting a crown is on your side, you want to be in that position. You want to put yourself in the safer position here. And right now, Positive Vibes is sitting in that throne, sitting pretty.
Yeah, and going into a Tundra run, this could be another easy round map. But we do have a seesaw going on here for Bear Torvanescence, and it doesn't look like they have the lead, but Puffly is fighting to get this 1 medal. And as we said, it's a 4 medal game, so anything Puffly can do is going to slowly grind back.
Right.
And the NPC went back to grief.
It looks like the NPC is going to be trying to tilt the seesaws. Anybody going up the right side not going to be able to advance through the level. Luckily, all of our players seem to have gone left, which is to their benefit. But Trip Hop getting caught up on the left side there behind the NPCs. You know, the kindergartners out here not doing their physics homework, as you can see.
I got you.
Yeah, at least Puffly's able to get this gold, but this is definitely going to be a little bit of a challenge back here for Trip Hop. Definitely not going to be able to make up that silver for where everything's going right now, and playing a lot safer, which is definitely the play right now. Definitely needing to focus on just qualifying, getting that bronze, tying it up, focus those 4 medals later at this point.
Is not gonna get it unless everyone
For sure. Puffly Jig, dominating performance in the race here. And yeah, bronze medal kind of evens everything out, you know? If you get 2 silvers versus a bronze and a gold means that basically all of the medals are null and void. You're just kind of shaking it off, moving on to the next round. But, you know, that's 1 less round that you can build up that kudos against the 2 peas in a pod, right? So...
Yeah, but I'll tell you, what I'm hoping to see again is I want to see tied games on both sides going into the finals.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine?
And then no one get a crown. I want to see tiebreakers across the board.
We have not had a tiebreaker in all of Fallapalooza history, folks. That would be one for the record books.
All of a sudden, but man, we're seeing so many close games. Last round, one team winning by 140, the other team winning by a medal, and then this round just so close across the board before going in.
Episode 3 is going to decide it, folks. And it's been incredible to see just how close these quarterfinals have been across the board. You know, these guys came to play, and it shows. And anybody can come out with the win in this, and that's the great thing about competitive Fall Guys.
Yeah, depending on what those medals happen in that Tundra run could really change what's going on, but Hoarders is definitely a relief to whoever has that medal lead going into this. So that's always nice in that fact. And especially since Hoarders is a game that, I mean, even with your whole team, if blue and yellow decided no red, you're not winning today, it's a hard win to take.
And what an interesting turnout that would be. It would kind of come down, you know, Eminem is down 2 medals coming out of the seesaw, or coming out of the first race that they did. if they, we don't really know how they performed in the Tundra run, right? So it would come down to that if they lose. They're looking really comfy right now, though. They got 4 balls in their corner. Lots of defense on both teams here. Try and keep things safe to go to the next round.
Come on, Jared,
Yeah,
hit the
so
ball better.
it's confusing because they're all playing defense on red, which is, I think, a lot more what you should be doing. If you are the team who's ahead, you should be hard defending your balls. If you're the team who's behind, I think you should hard grief and make sure you're giving yourself a better chance at qualifying instead of going for the gold again. But we are getting into a rollout, which is a lot more fun when you have all the players just chilling out next to each other.
Yep, this is a 3-wheel rollout, which is the scariest version in my opinion. The only thing that makes it worse is the fruit, but people are flying off the stage left and right. None of our competitors are going down. They're staying nice and safe. Nobody's griefing. Nobody wants to take the risk. You can't blame them. Only one to eliminate right now.
Yeah, and none of these players can risk making that mistake and all of a sudden leaving their partner to 1v2 in this situation. There are too many strong players on all 4 of these players, too strong to take advantage of a 2v1 scenario.
Absolutely. Now, if you're going to make a grief play, now is the time to do it.
Oh, that was really close there on Beartorv, and NPC got boosted off. You see Beartorv's eyes just, okay, I made it. I made it. I made it. It was really close there.
Breathe a sigh of relief, Beartorv. You're into the next round with your partner and both of your opponents. Kind of regain your composure. Might be moving into a team game with 24.
Yeah, potentially. I'm sure that they are hoping that it's a team game across the board. Trip Hop and Puffly maybe want a race to be able to pull ahead, and Hoopsie Daisy is about what I would expect a game to end with them winning.
I think they probably have a good chance. Look over on the other side, Positive Vibes and Eminem moving into a Freezy Peak. Another opportunity for medals to play in. Eminem's going to be trying to get a good run into this. Miggy Moan gets a good spawn. Melody gets a good spawn. Nightwalker gets the worst spawn that you can possibly get. So let's see how this pans out as they approach the middle part of this stage.
Yeah, I'm surprised Nightwalker took this path. Being the spawn that he had. Normally, whenever I get far right, it's always jump off the edge, get the reset, because any spawn is better than that. If you're far left, you can at least run up half that treadmill and it not affect you. But it seems like he's just going to go through with it, which does tend to mean that they think they have a medal advantage and can sacrifice that and have Freshie try and go for the win.
And it looks like it's not going to pay off. Who's up at the front? It's Melody here, gunning for the gold medal. She's just got to get past the airport security and the baggage claim. And now she's into the end. Gold medals for Melody. Silver medal for her team, Miggy Moan. That's what you want to see. Closing the gap just a little bit.
That's a silver for Freshie as well. But the question is, was that a silver for Nightwalker? I think he was 5th, and that may have only been a 22 to 23 person. So that, yeah, that was a bronze right there. So that was a gain of 2 medals right there.
Brings them right back into it. It all comes down to that one Tundra run that we didn't get to see. Yeah, who got the better medals in that one? We won't know. We're just as in the dark about the kudos count as you guys folks. Take a peek over at this Hoopsie Daisy for a second here. And as we can expect, our players dominating with a solid 50 points. Even with the fan version, making it look easy.
Oh yeah, I love this scenario where you can just hit that flipper, get the double points. Oh my lord, I love that they set those potentials up.
Oh, me too. Me too.
But
yeah,
ticks down. Looks like we're not gonna get like an almost 100-point game, but this final here, I'm not gonna.
The semifinal.
It all comes down to this.
Oh yeah, what I'm hoping for is I want no one to win the crown, and I want it to be that Tundra run that no one knows about for the suspense, the excitement of the game.
Yeah, these players want nothing to do with that, I can imagine. They're going to be trying their best to just grab the crown for themselves, but you can already see some aggression happening here. Miggy Moan immediately grabs Nightwalker and brings him down, but Nightwalker actually has the advantageous position here, then drops down to yellow. So now,
Can't do anything.
But he was leaving that
oh,
purple for Freshie.
leaving the purple for Freshie. It actually worked out in their favor. Now,
No, I just saw you
Nightwalker
fall.
and Freshie both on the yellow
No, I
layer.
didn't. I did
The
the
Cuphead
bad
kind of
thing.
giving Nightwalker some problems. Everybody's on blue. Blue is melting very fast. Everybody's going to be on purple right away here.
I'm a purple.
And this is what I want to see. I want all the NPCs. This is what I want. I want it to be a tight game across the board. This is the kind of excitement that I live for. This is kind of hype that I build in everything. But you see Freshie getting this little bit of a section, but missing his jump. They're going to pull him back a little bit, and everyone's going to be looking like on blue roughly the same time. Nightwalker's got some space up there on yellow and might be able to make some plays, but this Cuphead is charging over there. So Nightwalker's going to have to make sure he gets some space because he's going to be on blue just like everyone else pretty soon. So he's looking, you see him looking around, trying to pick where he's going to go, and he picks the right way. He cuts away from everyone, making sure that this is going to be him and an NPC over here, and he's stalling out. It is going to be him for this versus this robot. But
Who's
the
gonna
robot
make it?
fell. This is going to be Nightwalker. Nightwalker wins. Positive vibes is going to be going on to the semifinals.
Oh my goodness, the NPCs across the way missing their jumps, you could see, leaving Nightwalker to survive with just a few tiles left, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
I want to see the kudo amount still at the end of that and know if they won literally by 735 only.
Could you imagine a world where there would have been a tie if an NPC walked away with the crown? But before we get to that, we still have a thin ice to do between these two teams. Two Peas in a Pod sitting in a comfortable lead right now. If an NPC walks away with the crown or Two Peas in a Pod walks away with the crown, it's going to go to them, moving on to the semifinals for the second time in Fallapalooza history for them. But if the Has-Beens strikes back, gets the crown for themselves, they're going to say, no way you don't.
Yeah, and what's going to be interesting is I know Two Peas in a Pod have the kudo advantage going into this. It's still a crown answer, but with that kudo advantage for sure, this is going to be a fight to remember because realistically, Two Peas in a Pod just don't need to win again. We'll keep saying that. They just need to make sure that Has-Beens don't win.
And they have to know that in the back of their mind, you know. They got to include that in their strategy. They have to say, we have the kudos advantage. We were able to keep the streaks hot in the races. Our medals are good. All we need is for them to not win. So you go on the aggressive now. You make sure that both of them get eliminated. That is your key into the semifinals right now.
Yeah, and I find that the strategy that Puffly Jig and Trip Hop are using very interesting. They are running it out on the top layer. I think you need to be making holes in the map. Even when you're getting grabbed, if you see that Bear Torb and Essence, they made sure they were always running on top layers only, so that way they weren't creating islands, everything dropping. Almost got Trip Hop there. Trip Hop getting able to stand up, definitely going to be fighting there against Bear Torb. It's going to be a close game right there. Being able to get away. Puffly Jig running away from Essence right now. This is really close, and Puffly's going to jump across the map, going to actually play it out over there, cutting off Bear Torb. Bear Torb's over there. Puffly's over by Bear Torb, going to cut him off, make sure they both go down. He's going to leave this, so it's going to be Trip Hop versus, and with the play, and this is going to be Trip Hop's game!
My goodness. In an upset, Trip Hop is the last person with the tiles on the left side there. He's going to be walking away with the crown and the upset we were looking for, folks. Oh my goodness.
I'm just gonna say it, and everyone in chat's gonna hate me for it, but forget Fallapalooza. This whole tournament has been upset-a-palooza right here.
You can say that again. Holy buckets. What? Like, who could have expected that? Who could have expected the games to be as close as they were, to have it come down to kudos, and you think that the team with the kudos advantage is in the prime seat. You know, we're talking about Two Peas in a Pod here being in the power spot. All they have to do is make sure that their opponents don't win, but Trip Hop says, you know what? I'm too good for that. I know where to find the spots. I know where to be. I'm going to send Puffly Jig to cut off everybody and eliminate both of my players and be safe over here, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and let me say it one more time. I got to spin the record back. I've turned the cassette tape back. It does not matter who you are in this tournament. And this just proves it again and again and again. We are seeing players who, by the masses of people who know about the Fall Guys community, would say the Has-Beens shouldn't be beating Two Peas. They shouldn't be doing this. And I personally would say the Has-Beens would probably win maybe 3 out of 10 games against 2Ps, probably about 3 to 10 games. And here they are pulling one of those 3 chances because anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and we're seeing it happen here at Fallapalooza. It looks like all of our scores are in. I'm really interested to see how close these would have been without the crowns, but here they are. The scores are rolling in, folks.
So Nightwalker and Freshie were behind the medal.
Yep. A difference of 700 kudos without the crown means that, yeah, Positive Vibes needed that crown to win. Eminem would have won by about 35 kudos had it not been for the crown on Positive Vibes side. They needed that to win, and they did it.
So literally every single team that won in this quarterfinal set needed the crown, and the other team was in a position of victory if they could have stopped it from happening.
Isn't that insane? All of these matchups were so close going into episode 3. The crown needed to be the deciding factor for the team that was behind, and all 4 of those teams were able to clutch it out. I could not have. You can't script this kind of stuff, folks. I could not have imagined that the quarterfinals would go the way they have. Congratulations to all the teams that are going to be moving on to the semifinals and into the money. And thank you guys so much for playing. All of the players that made it into the second day, just coming up a little bit short. Much love to the Fall Guys competitive community for showing up and putting on such a good show.
Yeah, and I want to make a mention to all the players who aren't even in the tournament anymore that have been eliminated. You all are strong players. You've been putting on great performances. I guarantee everyone in the chat will yell out your names, yell out these team names. All these teams who didn't even make it yet and are out of the tournament, show them some love. These are great players who have been playing. These deserve just as amount of love. Go follow these streamers. Go let them know your support behind them. But also, these players who are in the tournament and still going, make sure you keep supporting them through this tournament. Let everyone know what team you're rooting for as well. Let everyone in this chat know what teams have been there, will be there, and will always be there.
Absolutely. Get the hype. We have a tradition in the Fall Guys community. Spam this blank to root for blank. You've got a favorite team. We want to see your creative cheers in the chat. Spam them up. Let's do it. We're going to get into some semifinals action coming your way. We're down to the part of the tournament where we only focus on one match at a time. The energy is intense. It's going to be hype. We want to focus on our competitors, our top 4 as much as we can. We're going to take a quick break, 5 minutes. Go stretch your legs. Go grab some water. Be right back here. You don't want to miss it, folks.